Lagos Racecourse, now TBS Course, was a sports field that hosted horse racing, but included a section for football and ground to play cricket. Well, the land was provided to colonial authorities by Oba Dosunmu in 1859, who thereafter built up the surrounding areas. The course was later demolished by the government of Yakubu Gowon to make way for Tafawa Balewa Square, that's TBS. In its heydays, the course hosted the Empire Day parades. In 1960, the course was redeveloped to celebrate Nigeria's independence, which took place on October 1st, 1960. Well, the Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa delivering his speech. And our right senior correspondent Tokunbo Yetunji joins us now live from Tafawa Balewa Square. Tokunbo, glad to have you join us. Nigeria is celebrating its 60th anniversary. Where you are now, what is the atmosphere like? Bring us up to speed.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Happy Independence Day anniversary. Happy 60th anniversary to Nigeria today and everybody watching from across the world. Here at the race course, the Lagos race course, originally known as Lagos race course, but now known as the Tafawa Balewa Square. And I must tell you indeed that at this spot where I'm standing was where, before the stroke of midnight of October 1, 1960, the lights were switched off to take off the British Union Jack. And just as the clock, as the midnight came, midnight of October 1st, 1960 came, the lights were switched back on that night to reveal majestically the green, white, green color of the new country, Nigeria. And here at the TBS where I'm standing, a monument has been put up to actually commemorate that. Every year you find people coming here to celebrate Nigeria's Independence Day. Of course, you know very well that the Lagos government has cancelled, suspended any form of celebration to mark this year's independence anniversary because of the outbreak of the COVID-19. But indeed, I must tell you that the state of the monument here, where that is very, very historic in Nigeria's history, is not anything to write home about. You could see as I walk through the bush path to actually access the monument, where names of people, founding Nigeria's political founding fathers who were part of all the conferences that led to Nigeria's independence in 1960, especially the last one, the 1958 London Constitutional Conference. Their names are boldly inscribed on this monument. You could see the action group, the parties, they all belong to, the different parties that they all belong to. The action group, what is written across it is Lancaster Conference, September 29, October 27, 1958. Chief Obafemi Awolowo, of course, the late sage, leader of that group and former premier of the Western region of Nigeria. His name is boldly inscribed there. Chief S.L. Akintola, Mrs. Olufemi Rasamikuti, and a whole lot of others. If I move to the other side of the monument, we could see the other party, another very, very prominent party then founded by the late Nnamdi Azikiwe, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, who was the premier of the Eastern region then, and all members of his party, the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons. Their names are equally very boldly inscribed here, as well as the other parties from the north, the Northern Element Progressive Union, as well as the Northern People's Congress. Prominent whose founders were prominent politicians from the north: Malam Aminu Kano, Malam Abdul Mumuni, Sir Ahmadu Bello, Sultan of Sokoto, and Premier of the Northern Region, then Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, of course, the Prime Minister, the first Prime Minister of Nigeria after Nigeria gained independence, and other members of the party, and majority of them who played very prominent roles in achieving Nigeria's independence. Before we finish, last but not the least, on this other part of the monument, we could see names of other very prominent politicians too that played one part or the other in Nigeria achieving is much cherished independence that you and I are celebrating today. We could see Mr. H.J.R. Biri, J.S. Taka, Dr. E.U. Udoma, Sir Muhammadu Sanusi, Emir of Kano. I guess that's the grandfather of the last Emir of Kano. Sir Usman Nagodo, Emir of Katsina, Sir Desoji Aderemi, Obala Desomi, Chief SE, Onokogu, among others. Ndi.
All right. Adesua is here with me. Adesua.
Yes, it's quite scandalous to see that such a monument that holds historical events is left dilapidated this way. Tokunbo, in your own opinion, what do you think could have been responsible for this? And just a correction, it was the father of the erstwhile emir, the previous emir before the current one, not the grandfather, it was his father. But like I was saying, what do you think is responsible for the state of such a monument?
Adesua, I must tell you that 10 years ago, I was here at this particular spot when Nigeria clocked 50 reporting, telling the world, showing the world where the history of Nigeria's independence actually started from. What I'm seeing here today is quite different from what I saw back then. Of course, there's not been any difference remarkably. But then it was well taken care of. You can't find the bush around here like this. Many Nigerians took to this place to actually participate in the parade and some other celebrations going on at that particular time. And a few people that I spoke with around here before off camera, before we came on this live show, were telling us that they actually had that as it's the usual practice. They were hearing that the authorities, the people in charge of this place, were actually coming to, as usual, take care of the place, make it wear a new look for this diamond anniversary of the country. But unfortunately, they didn't see anybody, and maybe that's because Abuja is now the federal capital. Abuja is now the center of action where everything takes place. But if you ask me, a place like this takes a premium place in Nigeria's history and should not be left in this state. But I must tell you, I think we need to find out the more. We learned that there has been this back and forth between the federal government and the Lagos state government about the ownership of monuments like this. And we heard that in the year 2008, the entire Tafawa Balewa Square that this place is part of was concession to a private firm that is supposed to be paying the federal government 100 million naira a year. And we don't have much details about the concession agreement. But we don't know what exactly the private firm is doing to make this place look like this on a day like this.
Well, Tokunbo, it's quite uninteresting. Whoever it's in his hands, whether it's the federal government, the state government, the private individual, we talk about excellence. You can't have your surroundings being dirty and then you can't take care of it. Whoever is in charge, I mean, it's a simple thing about I don't have to wait for someone to tell me to clean my place before I clean my place, even if it's not my place, or pick some things. Thank you so much, Tokunbo Taiwo. Tokunbo Yetunji, rather.